3 net worth milestones flip your money from push to pull. That sounds like a magic trick, but it is just patient math and boring habits. I will show them fast and give you simple steps to hit each one. No fluff, just the steps I wish I had 10 years ago and a couple of scars to prove it. If you like plain talk and receipts, hit subscribe so you do not miss tools. I bring screenshots, not vibes, and I keep the mess in because money is messy. I am Bobby, and this is your messy money friend across the kitchen counter. Pull up a chair, coffee ring on the table, and all. First, quick ground rules in plain English. No buzzwords, no guru glow, just straight definitions that actually help. Net worth is what you own minus what you owe. Simple, not easy, but simple enough to track without a spreadsheet degree. Investable balance is the liquid stuff like cash, stocks, and bonds, not your home. Your house is comfort, but it does not spit out cash on command unless you sell it. That difference matters because compounding works on the investable base that can actually grow. So we focus where the snowball can actually roll and pick up speed. The 3 milestones are your first 100,000 invested, the moment returns beat savings, and your personal finish line. I like clean names for them because names keep the brain calm when charts wiggle. That last one might be around 1 million for some folks, but not everyone. Real life is spiky, so your number is allowed to be weird and honest to your life. I will show how fees, taxes, and inflation can slow or speed your path. Tiny leaks sink big ships, and I have patched a few leaky budget holes myself. Which one are you closest to right now? It is okay if the answer is none yet, because starting counts and momentum is real. Stay with me, because the first milestone is slow, boring, and absolutely the lever. This is the gritty part. Nobody flexes on social, and that is exactly why it works. I will give you a simple checklist to start crossing it today. And yeah, we are actually going to do it together. Not just nod along and forget. Lean in for the first shove that makes everything else lighter on the other side. This stage is all grind and it feels unfair. Like doing squats alone in a garage gym while nobody claps. I hated it because I saved hard and the account barely moved. It felt like the universe taxed patience and paid crumbs. But the math says early progress is mostly saving and killing expensive debt. The spreadsheet is cold, but it does not lie about interest rates. 8% on a tiny base is still tiny, so your behavior does the heavy lifting. That line humbled me and made me focus on habits, not hacks. Here is the simple checklist that got me to the first 100,000. I literally taped this to my fridge so I would not negotiate with myself. Step 1, wipe high-interest debt before investing because it cancels compounding. Debt is a fire, so I stomped it out first and slept better. Step 2, build an emergency fund so downturns do not force panic selling. That fund is the guardrail that keeps you from swerving off the road. Step 3, automate a steady savings rate on payday. Automation beats motivation because buttons do not get tired after a long week. Step 4, use low-cost index funds and slash fees because costs are negative returns. Fees are termites, small and quiet until the whole beam gives way. Step 5, keep taxes in mind with tax-advantaged accounts when you can. Taxes are inevitable, but smarter placement keeps more of your effort working. I also stopped chasing hot tips, which felt brave, but honestly was just discipline. FOMO is loud, but quiet money stacks bricks in the background. Think of this phase like rolling a small snowball until it starts grabbing more snow. At first, nothing sticks. Then suddenly it starts packing and your hands feel lighter. Can you lock a higher savings rate before payday this week? Even 1 more percent is a nudge that adds up when nothing else seems to. Next, we hit the moment when returns finally outrun your deposits and the pace changes. That is the flip that makes you grin at a boring statement and keep going. At some point, your yearly growth beats what you add and the feeling flips. It is like the wind shifts and suddenly the flag starts pulling forward. That is the second milestone, and it sneaks up after slow, boring years. You think nothing is happening, and then the numbers wake up a little. 1 normal year of returns on a bigger base can add more than your deposits. The first time you see that, you refresh the app twice to make sure. This is like pushing a dead car that suddenly coughs and the engine catches. You exhale, it rolls, and your back finally stops burning. Here's how to protect that flip so it lasts. This is about guarding the engine, not showing off on the highway. Keep the emergency fund so a downturn does not make you sell good assets. Dry powder keeps you calm when headlines scream and your stomach flips. Use low-cost index funds to keep fees from eating the gains you fought for. They mute ego noise and leave you with market muscle. Automate contributions, but accept that the percentage you contribute now matters a little less. Consistency still compiles, even when compounding is doing more of the talking. Mind taxes with accounts that shelter growth when possible, because taxes are a real drag. Drag adds up like ankle weights, so use the shelters you qualify for. Stay invested through ugly headlines, because time in the market beats jumpy guesses. I have never met anyone who guessed perfectly twice in a row without luck. If you need a script, Say, I will stick to the plan I set on a calm day. I keep that line on a sticky note because future me forgets the plan. Are you ready to let the portfolio do more of the heavy lifting? Good, because the next milestone is where the numbers meet your actual life and values. Next, the third milestone, where goals get personal and round numbers can lie. This is where we stop chasing shiny labels and start designing Tuesday mornings. The third milestone is your finish line, not a fancy round trophy. It is the point where money becomes a tool and not a scoreboard. Some people say 1 million because it sounds big and official. And I get it, but round numbers feel safe, like the edges are smooth. But here's the twist that keeps me humble. Real life rarely cares about the roundness of your goals, only what they buy you. I know a couple who hit 1 million and said nothing really changed. They looked at each other, looked at the spreadsheet, and went back to work. They kept going until their real number, around 1.2 million, then retired. That extra bit was the breathing room that made their shoulders drop. That taught me to pick a number tied to life, not ego. Tie it to rent, food, travel, and the Tuesday mornings you want to design. Fees, taxes, and inflation still bite. So measure progress in real terms. I check the inflation-adjusted view because it keeps me honest and a little annoyed. Here's a quick plan I use when I feel lost. It is boring enough to work on autopilot and flexible enough for real life. Set your target in today dollars, automate saving, keep low-cost index funds, and avoid high-interest debt. Simple list, but it carries a lot of weight when you actually follow it. Hold an emergency fund so downturns do not kick you out of the market. That cushion saves you from selling at the worst possible time when nerves are hot. Then, stick with the boring plan that quietly makes you free. Freedom often feels like silence, not fireworks. And that is the point. I am not your advisor. This is education, and you control your choices. Your money, your call, and your timeline is allowed to be different from mine. If this helped, thank you for watching, and please subscribe and watch the next episode too. I appreciate you being here and doing the unsexy work on your future. What number would finally let you sleep well and live well for real?